Hello again, everybody, this is your host, and tonight I want to tell you a love story. Not a fairy tale, not a happily ever after. A love story between two of the biggest stars on the planet. A love story that ended with a letter written from a prison cell. A love story that the world didn't know about for 20 years. Outside my window, it's a quiet evening. The kind of evening that makes you think about the people you've loved and lost. The kind of evening that makes you think about the letters you never sent. The words you never said. The chances you never took. Let me take you somewhere. Close your eyes if you can. Come with me to the Soul Train Music Awards, March 1993, Los Angeles. The Shrine Auditorium is packed with music royalty. Every major R&B and hip-hop artist in America is here tonight. The energy is electric. The fashion is outrageous. The music is loud. And somewhere in this crowd, two worlds are about to collide. The night they met, Rosie Perez was having a bad night. The actress, fresh off her success in White Men Can't Jump, was supposed to have a date for the Soul Train Awards. A man she was seeing had promised to escort her. Then, 30 minutes before she was supposed to leave, her phone rang. Rosie's date. I can't go with you. My girlfriend will see me. Rosie Perez, you mother the host. She hung up the phone, furious, humiliated, alone on the night of one of the biggest award shows of the year. Then her phone rang again. She thought it was the jerk calling back to apologize. She picked up ready to unleash hell, but it wasn't him. It was her good friend, Tupac Shakur. Tupac: What's wrong? You sound upset. The host, Rosie, told him what happened. The date, the cancellation, the humiliation, and Tupac, being Tupac, had a plan. Tupac, you know what? I'm gonna go with you. We're gonna walk up in there. We're gonna act like we're on a date, and he's going to die. The host. So they did. Tupac Shakur and Rosie Perez walked into the Soul Train Music Awards together, arm in arm, looking like Hollywood's hottest couple. The reaction was immediate. Rosie, Perez, every female artist there was on my butt. They kept going. Hi Rosie, hi. Women who never talked to me before. There were two girls, who shall remain nameless, who wanted to beat me up. And I was telling Tupac, will you tell them I ain't sleeping with you? We're just friends. And he goes, you can take him, the host. But there was one woman at those awards who wasn't interested in fighting. She was interested in something else entirely. Madonna, the queen of pop, the most famous woman in music. The woman who had taken on the Vatican and won. The woman who had scandalized America with Like a Prayer. The woman who could have any man in the world. She saw Tupac Shakur across the room. And she wanted him. Rosie Perez. Madonna comes over. She looks at me. She goes, girl. I go, I gotcha. I said she wants to meet you, and he goes, hook that up. I hooked it up, and I was very happy about it. The host, and just like that, Madonna and Tupac Shakur began one of the most secret romances in music history. The secret romance. Think about who these two people were in 1993. Madonna was 35 years old. She had been famous for a decade. She had sold over 100 million records. She had starred in movies. She had scandalized the world with the Like a Prayer video. She had just released a sex book, the most controversial publication in entertainment history. She was the most talked about woman on the planet. She had taken on the Vatican. She had made the Pope speak her name. She had been paid $5 million by Pepsi for a commercial that aired twice. She had proven, over and over again, that she could not be controlled by anyone or anything. Tupac Shakur was 21 years old. He was a rising star in hip-hop. His albums Tupac Ellipse Now and Strictly for My Niggaz had established him as a voice for the streets. He had just starred in Poetic Justice alongside Janet Jackson. He was handsome, charismatic, brilliant, and dangerous. He was everything Madonna was drawn to. Tupac wasn't just a rapper. He was a poet, a philosopher, a revolutionary. His mother, Afeni Shakur, had been a member of the Black Panther Party. She was pregnant with Tupac. While on trial for conspiracy against the United States government, she represented herself in court and won. That's the blood that ran through Tupac's veins. Revolutionary blood, fighter blood, the blood of someone who would never back down, never give in, never stop speaking truth to power. Maybe that's what attracted Madonna to him. She had spent her entire career being a rebel, fighting authority, challenging the establishment. In Tupac, she found someone who was fighting even harder battles than she was. Someone who understood what it meant to be hated and feared and misunderstood. They were an impossible couple, a white pop queen and a black rapper, a woman in her mid-30s and a man barely out of his teens, a global superstar and a rising artist, a woman from Michigan and a man from the streets of Oakland. But impossible couples are sometimes the most passionate. Sometimes the barriers between people only make them want each other more. They kept it secret, completely secret. For over a year, they dated without anyone knowing. They were photographed together at events, but no one suspected. In March 1994, they sat at the same table at an Interview magazine party in New York. Raquel Welch was there too. The photos show them side by side, but the world had no idea. Madonna later revealed what Tupac did to her, how he changed her, how he made her feel. Madonna to Howard Stern. 2015. I was dating Tupac Shakur at the time. And the thing is, he got me all riled up about life in general. The host, she was referring to her infamous appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman in March 1994. The one where she cursed repeatedly on live television. The one that shocked America. Madonna, I was in a weird mood that day. I was feeling very gangsta. The host, Tupac, made Madonna feel gangsta. He brought out a side of her that the world had never seen. The rebellious, raw, unfiltered side that had been buried under years of calculated provocation. They recorded music together, a song for her 1994 album, Bedtime Stories. Madonna has said that someday she'll release it. She never has. Madonna, one day I will release the song we did together. The host. But by the fall of 1994, everything was falling apart. Not because they stopped loving each other, because the world wouldn't let them be together. The shooting. November 30th, 1994. Quad Recording Studios. Times Square, Manhattan. Tupac was in trouble. Serious trouble. He was facing trial for sexual assault charges from an incident the year before. A woman named Ayanna Jackson had accused him of assault in his hotel room at the Parker Meridien. He maintained his innocence, but the case was going badly. He was stressed, he was broke. He needed money for legal fees. The trial had drained his resources. So when he was offered $7,000 to record a verse for a rapper named Little Sean, he said yes. $7,000 for one verse. Easy money. Or so he thought. He arrived at Quad Studios around midnight with his manager, Freddie Moore, and his friend Randy Stretchwalker from the group Live Squad. The lobby was quiet. The elevator was waiting, and so were three men in army fatigues. As Tupac and his crew approached the elevator, the three men stepped out of the shadows. They had guns. They had a plan. Gunmen, give us your money. Give us your jewelry. The host, Stretch, and the manager complied. But Tupac was Tupac. Tupac 2 Vibe magazine, 1995. I grabbed a guy's gun, and we were struggling back and forth. The host, then the shots rang out. 5 bullets hit Tupac Shakur. 2 in the head, 2 in the groin, 1 in the hand. They robbed him of $40,000 worth of jewelry and left him bleeding in the lobby. But Tupac didn't die. Against all odds, he survived. His friend dragged him into the elevator. The next day, he showed up in court in a wheelchair, his head wrapped in bandages, to hear the verdict in his sexual assault trial. Guilty, first-degree sexual abuse. In February 1995, Tupac Shakur was sentenced to prison. He was sent to Clinton Correctional Facility in upstate New York. Maximum security, far from everyone and everything he loved, including Madonna. The letter from prison, January 15, 1995, 9:30 a.m. Clinton Correctional Facility. Tupac Shakur sat in his cell with a piece of lined paper and a black ballpoint pen. He had been putting this off for months. He had been struggling to find the right words, but he couldn't wait any longer. He had to write to Madonna. He addressed the letter to M, just the initial, as if even writing her full name was too painful. Tupac's letter. I've waited a long time to finally write this, mainly because I was struggling to find all the answers so that I wouldn't leave any unanswered questions. I must apologize to you because, like you said, I haven't been the kind of friend I know I am capable of being. The host, he was apologizing, not for the relationship, not for loving her, for ending it. Tupac's single quotes S letter, not because I am evil or because you weren't worthy, but at the risk of sounding overdramatic. The effects of racism make it difficult for a young black man to properly show affection for an older white woman. The host, there it was, the truth that he had been carrying, the weight that had been crushing him, the reason he couldn't be with her anymore. It wasn't that he didn't love her, it was that the world wouldn't let him love her. Think about what Tupac was saying. He was a young black man who had built his entire career on representing the struggles of his community. He was the voice of the streets, the poet of the oppressed, the man who rapped about police brutality, poverty, and the systematic destruction of black America. And he was secretly dating the most famous white woman in the world. Tupac's letter. For you to be seen with a black man wouldn't in any way jeopardize your career. If anything, it would make you seem that much more open and exciting. But for me, at least in my previous perception, I felt due to my image, I would be letting down half of the people who made me what I thought I was. The host. He was trapped. Trapped between his heart and his identity, between the woman he loved and the community he represented, between who he was in private and who he had to be in public. And he chose his community. He chose his image. He chose to let her go. Tupac's letter. I never meant to hurt you. The interview that broke his heart. But there was more to the story. More pain. More betrayal. More reasons why Tupac felt he had to end things. Madonna had given an interview. In it, she said something that cut Tupac to his core. Madonna interview. Quote, I'm off to rehabilitate all the rappers and basketball players. The host. Those words devastated him. All the rappers and basketball players, as if he was just one of many. As if he was a project. A charity case. Something for her to fix and then discard. Tupac's letter. Those words cut me deep. Seeing how I had never known you to be with any rappers besides myself. It was at this moment, out of hurt and a natural instinct to strike back and defend my heart and ego, that I said a lot of things. The host. He admitted it. He had lashed out. He had said things he regretted. He had hurt her because she had hurt him. But now, sitting in prison, facing years behind bars, he realized something. Life was short. Too short for grudges. Too short for pride. Too short for the walls that people build between themselves. Tupac's letter. I offer my friendship once again. This time stronger and more focused. I felt compelled to tell you. Just in case anything happened to me. The host. Just in case anything happened to him, he knew. Somewhere deep inside, Tupac Shakur knew that his time was running out. He had been shot 5 times and survived. He had made enemies on both coasts. He was a marked man, and he wanted Madonna to know, before it was too late, that he had loved her, that he was sorry, that he forgave her. The warning. The letter ended with a warning, a premonition, words that would become haunting. Tupac single quotes S letter. Please be careful, Madonna. Everyone is not as honorable as they seem. There are those whose hearts bleed with envy and evil. They would not hesitate to do you harm. Let my 5 bullets be proof of that. The host. My 5 bullets. The 5 bullets that had torn through his body in that studio lobby. The 5 bullets that should have killed him but didn't. The 5 bullets that proved the world was dangerous. That fame was dangerous. That love was dangerous. He signed the letter, always. Tupac Shakur. 20 months later, he was dead. The end. September 7, 1996, Las Vegas, Nevada. Tupac had been released from prison in October 1995 after Suge Knight, the head of Death Row Records, posted his bail. He had spent the last year of his life recording music at a furious pace. 2 albums, dozens of songs, as if he knew he was running out of time. That night, he attended the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon boxing match at the MGM Grand with Suge Knight. After the fight, there was an altercation in the lobby. Tupac and members of his entourage beat up a man named Orlando Anderson, a member of the Southside Crips. Hours later, Tupac was in the passenger seat of Suge Knight's BMW, heading to Knight's nightclub. They stopped at a red light at the intersection of Flamingo Road and Covo Lane. A white Cadillac pulled up beside them. A window rolled down. 13 shots were fired. 4 bullets hit Tupac. 2 in the chest, 1 in the arm, 1 in the thigh. Suge Knight made a U-turn and raced toward the hospital. But by the time they arrived, Tupac was barely conscious. He was rushed into emergency surgery. Doctors removed his right lung. They put him in a medically induced coma. For 6 days, Tupac Shakur fought for his life. On September 13, 1996, at 4:03 p.m., he lost the fight. He was 25 years old. His mother, Afeni Shakur, made the decision to take him off life support. His last words, reportedly spoken to a police officer who asked if he knew who shot him, were, "Fuck you." Even at the end, Tupac was Tupac. His body was cremated the next day. At a memorial gathering, members of his group the Outlaws mixed some of his ashes with marijuana and smoked them. It was what he had requested. Even in death, he was unconventional. The murder remains one of the most infamous unsolved cases in music history. For 27 years, no one was charged. Then, in September 2023, a man named Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was finally arrested and charged with Tupac's murder. Davis had been in the white Cadillac that night. He had admitted his involvement in interviews and a memoir. He awaits trial as of this recording. But the arrest didn't bring Tupac back. Nothing could bring Tupac back. He was gone at 25, leaving behind a legacy that would only grow larger with each passing year. He has sold over 75 million records. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2017. He is considered one of the greatest and most influential rappers of all time. And somewhere in Madonna's memory, he remains the man who made her feel gay, the man who wrote her a letter from prison, the man she loved and lost. 20 years of silence. Madonna never spoke publicly about her relationship with Tupac. Not for 20 years. She kept his memory private. She kept his letter private. She kept their love private until Kadori Balima Blust. In an interview with Howard Stern, Madonna finally confirmed what fans had suspected for years. Howard Stern, were you and Tupac ever an item? Madonna: yes. The host, that single word, yes. After 2 decades of silence, after all the rumors and speculation, after all the years of wondering. Yes. She talked about how he changed her, how he made her feel how he influenced her life in ways she had never publicly acknowledged. But she didn't talk about the letter. Not then. The auction. The letter stayed hidden for years. It was in the possession of Darlene Lutz, Madonna's former art advisor and close friend. How Lutz got the letter is unclear. What is clear is that in 2017, she decided to sell it. Gotta have rock and roll. Auctions announced they would be selling Tupac's handwritten letter to Madonna. Opening bid, $100,000. Expected sale price, $200,000 to $300,000. Madonna was furious. She filed an emergency court order to stop the sale. In her filing, she made her position clear. Madonna court filing. The fact that I have attained celebrity status as a result of success in my career does not obviate my right to maintain my privacy, including with regard to highly personal items. The host, she wanted the letter back. Not to sell it, not to display it, to protect it, to keep her memories of Tupac private, to keep their love sacred. The auction was temporarily halted. Bidding had reached $100,000, but Madonna had won. For now then, in 2018, a judge ruled against her. She had signed a settlement agreement with Lutz back in 2004 following a previous dispute. The judge said she couldn't sue Lutz again to recover the items. In 2019, the letter finally went to auction. It sold for a reported price in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. The exact buyer remains unknown. Somewhere out there, a stranger owns the most intimate letter Tupac Shakur ever wrote. The legacy. What do you say about a love story like this? Two people, two superstars, two worlds that couldn't merge, no matter how much they wanted to. Tupac Shakur loved Madonna. The letter proves it. The way he apologized, the way he explained himself, the way he warned her to be careful. Don't write like that to someone you don't love. You don't sit in a prison cell at 9:30 in the morning, struggling to find the right words, unless those words matter, unless that person matters. And Madonna loved Tupac. The fact that she kept silent for 20 years proves it. The fact that she fought in court to keep the letter private proves it. The fact that she still, to this day, has never released the song they recorded together proves it. In 2018, Madonna mentioned that song again in an interview. She teased that one day she might release it. She hasn't. Maybe she never will. Maybe some things are too sacred to share with the world. Maybe that song belongs only to her and to the memory of the man who made her feel gangsta. But love wasn't enough. The world in 1994 wasn't ready for them. Maybe the world still isn't ready. Tupac was right about one thing. His career would have been affected. A young black rapper, the voice of the streets, dating the white queen of pop. In the mid-1990s, at the height of the gangster rap era, when authenticity was everything, it would have changed how people saw him. It would have complicated his message. It would have given his enemies ammunition. The hip-hop world of 1994 was brutal. It was divided. East Coast versus West Coast. Death Row versus Bad Boy. Tupac versus Biggie. In that world, image was everything. Credibility was everything. And dating Madonna, the woman who had made the sex book, the woman who had kissed a black saint in Like a Prayer, the woman who represented everything mainstream and white and commercial, that would have been complicated. So he made a choice. He chose his community over his heart. He chose his image over his love. He chose to write that letter and let her go. And then he died. 20 months later, 25 years old, 4 bullets in his body, alone in a hospital bed in Las Vegas. We'll never know what might have been. We'll never know if they could have found a way to be together. We'll never know if the world would have eventually accepted them. All we know is what happened. And what happened was tragedy. Final thoughts. The saddest part of this story isn't that Tupac died young. It's that he saw it coming. In that letter, written from a prison cell in January 1995, he told Madonna to be careful. He told her that people would hurt her. He told her that his 5 bullets were proof of how dangerous the world could be. He sensed it. He felt it coming. And he wanted to make sure that before he was gone, Madonna knew the truth. That he had loved her. That he was sorry. That he forgave her. That she should be careful. Let my 5 bullets be proof of that. He survived those 5 bullets. He didn't survive the next 4. I think about that letter sometimes. I think about Tupac sitting in his cell, struggling to find the right words. I think about him admitting that racism made it impossible for him to love who he wanted to love. I think about him apologizing for not being a better friend. I think about him warning her to be careful. And I think about Madonna, reading that letter, holding those 3 pages of lined paper, seeing his handwriting, knowing that the man who wrote those words was gone, that she would never see him again, that she would never hear his voice again, that all she had left were memories and this letter. She tried to keep it private. She failed. The world got to read the most intimate thoughts Tupac Shakur ever committed to paper. But maybe that's okay. Maybe the world needed to see this letter. Maybe we needed to know that behind the gangsta image, behind the thug life persona, behind the rage and the violence and the controversy, there was a man who loved deeply, who hurt deeply, who wrote beautiful, vulnerable letters to the woman he couldn't be with. Tupac Shakur was 25 years old when he died. In those 25 years, he made more of an impact than most people make in a lifetime. He changed hip-hop. He changed music. He changed how we think about race and poverty and injustice in America. But he never got to grow old with the woman he loved. He never got to release that song they recorded together. He never got to see if the world would ever be ready for them. Some love stories don't have happy endings. Some love stories end with a letter from prison and a shooting in Las Vegas and 20 years of silence. But they're still love stories. They still matter. They still teach us something about the human heart and its capacity for love and loss and longing. Tupac loved Madonna. Madonna loved Tupac. And for a brief moment in 1993 and 1994, they were together. They were happy. They were in love. That's something. That's everything. This has been the story of the letter that made her cry. Good night. Keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. And remember, tell the people you love that you love them. Right now, today, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. Just ask Tupac. Good night.